What's going on, YouTube? Now, it's certainly an understatement to say that the new Kia Telluride has turned the segment on its head. Its unique combination of style, luxury, and value now have it in the same conversation as heavyweight veterans, like this all-new Ford Explorer. But now that introduces a new question: who does it better? Will it be the segment sales leader and longtime American favorite, or will it be the exciting newcomer? Let's find out. Alright, so kicking things off here, we have to talk about the pricing and equipment of these two. Up first, we have the new Telluride, which, as with any Kia, puts an emphasis on value. This particular example is the fully loaded SX trim with both all-wheel drive and the Prestige package. Yet, even after the destination charge is added in, the total rings in at a very reasonable $46,795. Now for the Explorer, Ford has a much different trim structure. The limited trim, which is what we have, is basically loaded in terms of features you expect for the class, even though there are still two trims above it that are both equipped and priced like luxury vehicles. As such, this equivalently equipped limited all-wheel drive starts out at a little over $50,000, and this particular one is equipped up to $54,110. For those of you paying attention, that puts these at a price difference of $7,300. We will factor in this important difference into the points when we consider the topic of value later in the video. So starting things off here with the exterior designs, both do a great job of avoiding the minivan look that plagues a lot of the rivals. The Explorer's front design isn't radically different than the outgoing model, but it does look more muscular now with its flatter snout. The Telluride, of course, doesn't have any predecessor to build off of, so its design is totally unique, with a large boxy grille and two small LED light clusters pushed out to the corners. The Explorer's lights are also fully LED, and both have LED fog lights down at the bottom. As far as the rest of the styling, they continue to be very different, not in the least because the Explorer's new rear drive proportions stand out from the segment norm, but the actual equipment is pretty much the same. So overall, both have a much more stylish and masculine vibe than what the majority of the class offers. Now moving beyond the appearance to the features, both have 20-inch alloy wheels with vastly different designs, as well as mirrors that are heated, power folding, and have built-in blind spot indicators. In addition to those BSM systems, both Ford and Kia give you their entire suites of safety systems as standard equipment. That means they have automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beam headlights. Once again, on all models, not just these higher end trims. When it comes to the warranties, Kia has the best-in-class warranty of 5-year 60,000 mile basic and 10-year 100,000 mile powertrain, while the Ford is 3 and 5 years respectively. Neither of them have complimentary maintenance. Finally, the last thing to mention on the outside is that the Ford outtows the Kia with 5,300 pounds of capacity compared to 5,000. So that's it for the exteriors. So now let's go ahead and check out the more important cabins. Now moving into the interiors, the first thing we have are the key fobs for the standard smart entry systems. Besides for the looks, the only difference is that Ford integrates remote start, whereas it has to be done via the UVO app on the Kia. It is also worth mentioning that the Explorer has a more convenient sensor behind the handle. So first, opening up the doors, we have two designs that look nothing like anything else in the class. Both are obviously black, and both have real leather, but the Telluride with the Prestige package comes with Nappa leather, which is one of the finest grades of automotive leather. As far as the seats themselves, both have heating, ventilation, and two-person memory, but the Kia has the advantage of power thigh extension. Cabin materials are also another important area. So starting with the Ford, we have a soft touch upper dash, and in the middle, some faux wood trim. The center tunnel is covered in a faux aluminum, and the lower plastics are hard touch. In the Telluride, things are more upscale, with stitched soft touch plastic up top, a very realistic faux wood trim, piano black, aluminum, and then a leather covered center console for you to rest your knee against. Press the buttons to start both. Now checking out the gauges, they look pretty much the same, with the analog gauges and a large multifunction display in the middle. However, one difference is that the Telluride has a head-up display. And coming back to the steering wheels, they have attractive designs, are leather wrapped, and are heated, plus both have rain sensing wipers. Next up, we have the very important aspect of storage, where the two have similar arrangements, but the Explorer uses the space a little more efficiently. It sticks the phone charger upright to save space, plus it has an additional storage area under the screen. Now coming to the shifters, Ford has gone with an electronic one, while Kia stuck with a traditional one. Regardless of your personal preference on that aspect, only the Explorer will give you paddle shifters for manual shifting. When in reverse, both models have 360-degree camera systems as well. The next stop up are the climate controls, where both models give you 3-zone automatic setups. Unlike the previous Explorer, all the buttons are now physically located, just like they are in the Telluride. Alright, so let's go ahead and compare the audio system. While they are undoubtedly very close, I'll give the edge to the Ford. And now that brings us to the infotainment systems. First of all, the Telluride has a significantly larger 10.25-inch display, while the Ford has an 8-inch display on the Limited. However, as far as the other main features, they are the same. So you're looking at having integrated navigation on both, as well as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Finally, the last thing to mention up front are the roofs, where both have an advantage. The Explorer has a one-piece pano roof, which is more encompassing, but the Telluride has the luxurious headliner. Now moving on to the equally important rear areas. The Telluride has an advantage in terms of legroom, though they do pretty much have the same amount of headroom. As expected, both use captain chair seating arrangements, with full sliding and reclining abilities, and they are also heated. The really rare feature though is that the Kia's rear seats are also ventilated, which is virtually unheard of in this class. Now as far as other amenities, they have the same stuff, just located in different places. Both have rear climate controls, 2 charging USB ports, and a household outlet. Moving on to the next row of seats, both have convenient one-touch sliding and folding mechanisms that make access very simple. And then as far as actually sitting in the seat, they have very similar dimensions and feel the same for an adult sitting back there. That being said though, the Kia does have more features in the back, since it has charging USB ports. Moving on around to the rear, both have smart opening tailgates. And once they open up, you'll find some of the best cargo capacities in the class. 2 of the measurements are nearly identical, but the Telluride does have an advantage when it comes to having all of the seats in place. However, Ford does fight back by having a power folding third row, which is something missing from the Kia. Now let's go ahead and compare them under the hood and out on the road. As you've seen up to this point, these two crossovers are very different in most ways, and that continues here as well. The Telluride goes the more traditional route with a 3.8 liter V6 engine, while the Ford uses a small 2.3 liter turbo 4-cylinder. The actual power numbers are only 3% different, with the Ford having the advantage of 300 versus 291 horsepower, and 310 versus 262 pound-feet of torque. So first, launching off in the 2020 Ford Explorer. As we've already said numerous times, this is the limited trim, and it comes with the 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine. When you start going down the road in this, it's really surprising just launching off. It feels quite powerful for such a small engine.
Yeah, for sure. And even the sound, it doesn't really sound like a strained 4-cylinder. You know, in a big vehicle like this, you know, if you got like a 4-cylinder in any of its competition, it's going to sound really, really strained. And this engine definitely doesn't have any of that.
Also, just starting out, you definitely have plenty of power. Like we said, you get a standard V6 engine here versus the rivals, where they're going to make you pay extra for it, more or less. That power is routed through an 8-speed automatic in the Kia, or a 10-speed automatic in the Explorer, and both have all-wheel drive as equipped. The 10-speed automatic doesn't hesitate to drop gears. Just like in the F-150 we were just in, it drops gears, sometimes multiple ones at a time, just to keep you right in the power band.
Yeah, their 10-speed does a really good job. You cannot feel the shifts at all.
Yeah, it's an excellent, very smooth transmission. Now there are even larger differences at play here, like the fact that the Explorer is based on a rear drive architecture instead of front wheel drive like the Kia and the vast majority of rivals. This difference does play a role in the way it drives, since the Explorer feels like one of the sportier offerings in the class. You know, it does. It feels very well balanced, and what's impressing me is that it doesn't feel super big or anything. A lot of the competition wallows around, and it just feels absolutely gigantic. This feels pretty agile, and just rolling down the road here, you have a good sense of where the wheels are placed. Both have well-controlled body motions, though the Explorer is definitely among the best in the class. The steering also has slightly more feel, which adds up to give it a handling advantage. Ride comfort is also excellent on both, canceling out all but the largest road imperfections, and both have very hushed cabins. This road is quite rough here, and like I was saying, you really do have a luxurious ride. It definitely takes these bumps with ease. I cannot feel any type of violent intrusions or anything into the cabin.
Now, one of the other things I do want to comment on is just cruising along. You know, an Explorer is supposed to be a family vehicle. You have 3 rows for you and your family to come along comfortably. And this car really does a great job of keeping it quiet and comfortable in here. Those are your 2 main things that you want in a car like this, and they do a really good job with it.
There is one small but noteworthy thing to point out, and that's that our Telluride has the blind spot camera system, which is something not available on the Ford. I don't know if the camera can see this very well or not, but we do have this camera system, which is like a lane watch type of deal. So when you turn on your right signal, it activates the right camera, and then shows you basically your blind spot. But you do also have traditional blind spot detection as well, so you've got both of them. That really makes for a great combination. And then finally, to finish out this part, the Explorer's 4-cylinder engine does have a noteworthy fuel economy advantage of 23 combined versus 21 combined. Now, in case you forgot, we must now remember that the Telluride is $7,300 less expensive than the Explorer, even though they have equivalent levels of equipment. Therefore, to represent this in points, we will award the Kia a half point per $1,000 of difference, or 3.5 points. So there you have it. These two brand new crossovers are really neck and neck throughout. But it cannot be denied that in the end, the Telluride represents an amazing value. That's why it's the winner today, but honestly you can't be faulted for choosing either of these excellent family SUVs. Anyways, thanks for joining us on another Car Confections comparison. And be sure to subscribe for more comparisons and our signature full review videos. Take care, everyone.